Yo, what's up, everybody? You guys will be noticing that my mic volume is kind of changed, I would say. Like, less words are missing and stuff. Part of the reason a lot of words were missing in my previous two videos was mostly because I was still getting around my OBS settings. I mentioned this in like 3 or 4 videos ago that I had to format my PC, and since then my OBS setting has kind of been in an ups and downs, so I couldn't get a proper setting going for OBS. So I just worked around, tweaked a few things, and it's fine now. Anyways, now I'm back to the topic of why I'm making this video. I already made a Call of Duty video, Origins of the Masterpiece. Great game. I enjoyed it a lot. It's a great one-time play for anybody who has free time and wants to play something that is non-stressful or something that's just there to have fun. Don't try the hard mode; you'll feel really stressed out. But yeah, people who want to have fun can have fun with this game. Same goes for United Offensive. It's an expansion pack, or in today's world, it would be called DLC. But back then, expansion pack actually meant something instead of DLCs just being nowadays how DLCs are just some random ass skin that you would just get. That's basically what DLCs have been in the past 5 to 6 years of gaming that I've seen. So back then you had expansion packs like expansion pack of this or Company of Heroes expansion packs or something like Age of Empires expansion packs like Native Americans and the Asian Dynasty one, or something like more recognized like Half-Life expansion packs like the Opposing Force or Blue Shift. Just like that, you have expansion pack, which is basically for Call of Duty 1, that is United Offensive. Now, United Offensive is obviously going to carry on from Call of Duty 1, which is where the game was centered on the World War II, and in this we are playing as the United States, we play as United Kingdom and the Soviet Union. The three nations are what we play as. In United States we play as Scott Riley, in United Kingdom we play as James Doyle, and in Soviet Union we play as Yuri Petrenko. Those are the characters that we play as in these three campaigns that we go through. Now, the game also includes a lot of historical battles, such as the Battle of Bulge, the Battle of Kursk, and the invasion of Sicily. There's obviously going to be a minor deviation and from the original battles and stuff because it's more like they're trying to make it more suited on the game and stuff. So yeah, there's some of the things that will obviously be changed to suit the game's thematics and stuff, I would say. So yeah, now there's also a new thing that I really noticed that I really did not realize when I was playing Call of Duty 1 is that I can sprint. Yes, I can sprint using my Alt button. I sprint using my Shift button on keyboard, not Alt button. So it was very weird for me to use Alt button to sprint. Yeah, that's something. Anyways, we play as Scott Riley, which is the first playable protagonist in the American campaign, and in Riley's campaign, we take part on the entire Bastion campaign by defending Voice Jacks, capturing and securing Crossroads and Town of Foy, and capturing Novel. As for James Doyle, who's the second playable protagonist in United Offensive, Doyle is the Royal Air Force B-17 gunner shot down over the Netherlands on the RAF's first daylight mission using the B-17. So the Dutch resistance, with the help of SAS, rescue him before he's captured by the Germans. So Doyle returns, by the way, in Call of Duty 3. That is an information even I didn't know, but that's what it said apparently when I was researching about the characters. It seems that he returns in Call of Duty 3. Now, I will play Call of Duty 3, but that might be because a bit late. I mean, I'll play it a bit later than the other Call of Duty games. But that's part of the reason is because I need a controller to play that. Reason is I'll have to emulate it on the PCSX because I do have the original CD of it, the original PS2 CD, and the game is not available on any other platform. I don't know why Call of Duty 3 had the developers thought it was a great idea that Call of Duty 3 should only be released on PS2 and not on any of the other consoles or PC. Yeah, I don't know why. Anyways, yeah. And obviously, the third playable protagonist is Yuri Petrenko. Petrenko takes part in the entire Battle of Kursk by defending their trench bases, securing Point Ponyri, destroying German armor in Prokhorovka. There we go. And assaulting and defending Kharkov until the arrival of Soviet reinforcements. So yeah, that's basically what our characters will be doing. Now, let's also talk about each and every campaign going forward. First campaign in the American, the first level in the American campaign is Boys Jack. So, what is this mission? The mission starts off with Sergeant Moody, Ender, and our character Riley, accompanied by a few members of the 101st Airborne Division, on a jeep patrol. Sergeant Moody tells the soldier to scout ahead. Doing so, the member of the 101st discovered an incoming German advance. They fight their way through back to the jeep, but during their retreat, half of the patrol is killed, leaving only Moody, Ender, and the player, which is us. The player then hops into a jeep and takes control of mounted M2 Browning machine guns. Three remaining members of the patrol drive behind enemy lines, avoiding many danger to get back to the headquarters to bring word of the enemy advance. Almost to the headquarters, Ender takes a bullet into his left arm and begins to bleed up. When Moody, Ender, and the player finally make it to the HQ, Ender is treated with his wounds, but is never seen again. Moody and the player then begin word of the German advance to Captain Foley. After Moody and the player informed Foley of the incoming German advances, the player is told to dig into a foxhole with Private Anderson. While the player and Anderson make their way to their designated foxhole, the American line is pounded by heavy artillery, killing many soldiers. Once Anderson and player get into their foxhole, enemy troops begin to roll in from across an open valley. Enemy armor also begins to advance onto the American defenses. The player would then make use of the Browning M1919 found in the foxhole to quickly cut down the incoming Germans. After the first few waves of the Germans retreat, Sergeant Moody approaches the player and tells them to come with him to the foxhole. When they are instructed using a Springfield to snipe incoming German forces. After this, the player is instructed to move farther down the line of halt and incoming German advance. Here, the player will find M9A1 bazookas. Other members of 101st will also pick up bazookas to help the player push back the incoming armor. Around 5 to 6 Panzer IVs are eliminated. Another large wave of them will advance to the player, only to be destroyed by an incoming M4 Shermans. Moody will then remark as the screen fades to dark and other soldiers jump and cheer. So yeah, what is this mission about? Well, I just explained that whole thing, what this mission does and how it does. But what was my own personal experience on this mission? It was hard. I died a lot of times on this mission, surprisingly enough, in fact, I died a lot of times compared to Call of Duty 1 in United Offensive. The game made sure that you are supposed to play Call of Duty 1. It expects you to know what what you are doing throughout the whole Call of Duty 1 campaign. It makes sure that you use your skills to your full advantage, and that's really, really cool to me, because it's like not trying to hold your hand or anything like that. It has given you a weapon and it has given you a mission. It expects you to know what you have been taught in the first game and follow it onto this game. And then we begin with the second mission, which is Crossroads. So at 0219 hours, the mission starts off with the player starting off in the US-10 being greeted to Sergeant Ramirez and Sergeant Jones and continue the plan against the German. Captain Foley dismisses the group and the player with their squad move outside. Soon as the player is marching out of the camp, the player's squad is attacked by Germans and a soldier is hit by the fire, resulting in Sergeant Moody to get the soldier. After the force has been wiped out, the player is told that with his squad to clear out the rest of German encampment. When walking, Private Goldberg appears and debriefs Moody on the German situation at the encampment. Soon, while stealthily trying to reach the encampment, the Germans deploy flares to spot out the player's squad, and soon Moody and the player dash to the right of the tree line. Once the encampment is destroyed, the player and his squad decide to go inside the house next to the encampment to wipe out the remaining Germans. After clearing out the house, the players find a German officer that is surrendering and decide to question the officer of the about the missing patrol. The officer claims he doesn't know about the missing patrol, and Private Denny smacks him with the butt of his weapon and continues to question him. The officer tells that the patrol is out and back of the house, and as the officer is walking out of the room, he screams outside the window, telling the Germans to go back to the barn where the missing patrol is before being knocked out with a rifle, if not killed. Moody tells his squad to rush to the barn once the German attacks are stopped. The player goes inside the barn to find the missing patrol alive and on the ground. Moody tells the squad to get medic while the rest go to the crossroads to help support Ramirez. Once the player and the squad gets to Ramirez, they find fighting off German fire. Moody instructs the player to help Ramirez by taking out the bunker that's got him pinned down. Once the Germans are killed, Moody tells Ramirez to hold down the fort while the rest of the squad cuts them off. They get to the fort. The player will move up with their squad alongside with the road where the German vehicles come. Moody tells them to get down and wait for the Germans appear. When German vehicles appear, Moody tells the soldiers to open fire, catching the enemy soldiers by surprise. After a while, Moody would tell the player to get the bazooka and take out the incoming panzers. Once the player kills the remaining Germans and the panzers, Moody will tell his squad good job and tell them to go back to Crossroads. The mission ends with Captain Foley appearing with the US tanks and tells Moody and his squad good job, and they'll take it from here. So in general, I thought this mission was all in all pretty good. In fact, like, I genuinely thought this was a better mission than all of the other missions in the first Call of Duty game. The United Offensive, like I said, expanded on a lot of things that United, like Call of Duty 1 already had, and that's why it's called the expansion pack. And it was great playing this mission. It was a nighttime mission, and especially a decent difficulty mission, which wasn't too hard, but like it was also a difficulty where you have to give your concentration for a bit. Now we move on to the third mission, which is called Foy, and as we know, once Captain Foley completes his quick speech, the player should start following Sergeant Moody, as he says there is not much cover once the player exits the tree, so stay moving. Once the player reaches the field, the squad will come under attack from the enemy gunfire. The player should head forward and take a right just once he sees a gap in the fence. Use the haystacks on the left of the side of the field for the cover. The player should take the squad until Moody gives the order to use shed for cover. The player should stay in this area until he sees a soldier approach shed. He reports that there is a spotter somewhere in the village and that the artillery fire will stop if he's killed. After he is finished, a bullet will meet with his head and some blood will splash out. Sergeant Moody will order the player to grab the Springfield and take out the spotter. So go ahead to the dead soldier and grab his rifle. The spotter is nestled in one of the far-off buildings. He is between the large building where the MG42 is located and a large barn with open window at the top. To find the spotter, the player should scan all the buildings visible from the right side of the shed and look for white uniforms. The player should go back and around the shed and go and over to the left side. On the top floor of the large building ahead are two soldiers on MG42s. Once they're disabled, head forward into the field. The player should take out any enemy forces guarding the front of the building. Stay with the fence and head to the left. The player should follow their squad to a gap in a barbed wire fence. Some more Germans will start advancing towards the player from the other side of the building. The player must kill all of them. Once they stop appearing, the player should head over to where the enemy forces started coming out of. The player should equip some machine gun or semi-auto rifle and look around for the corner. A flag is guarded by a large group of enemies. Once all the enemies are defeated, the player should make their way over to the flag. On the way, MG42 gunner will start firing at the squad from the large building on the right. Head over to the flag 88 mounted and aim the 88 at MG42 nest and fire away. The corner of the building will fall off like debris in mudslide. When the gunner is dead, hop off and plant the demo charges. Now get back to a safe distance away from it and wait for it to blow. Once the flak is dead, head over to Sergeant Moody where he's standing. The player is now faced with clearing houses one at a time. Wait for Moody to kick open the door and head inside. Immediately shoot the Nazi that pops up from the stairs and get behind some cover. Wait until the enemy troops outside reload, then head up the stairs where the player kills the soldier. Go into a room on the left side, just behind the stairs. Use a sniper rifle to take out the Germans in the house across the street, then kill the MG42 gunner. Run back down the stairs and exit the house, then go over to the squad to the right. The player should snipe the MG42 gunner on the top of the floor of the house ahead of them. Go through a gap in privacy fence and take out any Germans guarding the house in front. Once all of them are dead, head into the house where the MG42 gunner was killed. Kill the enemy in the next room, then head right. Take out the handful of enemies in the next few rooms. Eventually, the player will come to the staircase with several Nazis on guard. Kill all of them in view, then shoot ones on the stairs. Equip the SMG and run to the next room. Use the SMG spray to take out most of the enemies on the left. Continue through the room and past the fireplace. Go into the next opening and exit the building via the door on the right. Kill the German sneaking around on the other side of the privacy fence, then head into the building he came out of. Enemy soldiers will flip a table, quickly shoot them in the head for an instant kill, then head into the doorway on the left. Go through the small room on the right and exit the building. Use the sniper rifle to take out any enemy on the top of the floor on the left. Sneak out, snow cover to the first story window, and a group of Germans will be found in one of the rooms. Take them out and head into the building. Go into a small hallway and kill 2 soldiers. Stroll into the room on the left, turn 180 degrees, and head into the hallway to the left. Take the duo of Germans that appear in the hallway, then head back to the door. Plant a demo charge on the back of the Tiger. Once the charge blows up, and head back to the previous room. Once Sergeant Moody bursts down the door, head over to the fence at the left and use it to cover for the G-Fort. The player shouldn't even try to snipe the gunner or they will most likely be torn to pieces. After a few seconds of waiting for 11th Armored Division or tanks will shot up and blow out the top of the church. The players must go right and they will come under fire from a German MG32 and handful support. Use the SMG to spray it and take out all the Germans quickly. Sergeant Moody will burst down the door, go through the small hallway, then head left into the street. Kill the 2 Germans on the side of the road, then run over to the church and wait for Sergeant Moody. Once he bursts down the door, equip the sniper and wait for the enemies inside of the church to pop up from the benches. Snipe them all in the head and collect the ammo to drop. A few Nazis will start firing from the upper balcony. His assault rifle take them out, then rest for a bit. The American Shermans can be heard rolling down the street. All of a sudden, an explosion noise fills the air. A German counterattack. Head up the stairs on the left at the entrance. Go into the doorway to the left and grab the scoped Kar-98 if needed. The objective to eliminate the Panzerschreck units before the Shermans arrive. A roll of 7 will come. Just use the debris as cover while sniping. Once all Shermans arrive, climb down the ladder, then down the stairs. Go outside the church and head down the road to where the Panzerschreck units that appear. Follow the rest of the squad here until reaching the edge of the town where Captain Foley is resting. Looking like he's under some major stress, Captain Foley asks the player to destroy the Tiger trying guarding the bridge. Head over to the bridge and start advancing. The player shouldn't bother sniping anything because he will die quicker when standing still. Stick to the right side of the bridge until the tank blows a hole in the left side. Switch over and use a car as a cover while sniping the enemies up ahead. One will always respawn and man the MG42, however. So, the player has to be quick. Get to the trench on the other side of the bridge. Not only does it provide cover and help, but MG42s cannot fire upon the player. Run over the trench and get use of the health packs. Equip scope Kar-98 and snipe the 2 MG42 gunners. Once they're dead, take out the remaining Germans, then hop onto the trench. Continue forward until they come onto a truck. In the courtyard ahead are 3 Germans. Go in prone position and shoot their feet. Once they fall, quickly shoot them in the torso to put them all down for good. Do this for all 3, then head into the courtyard. There's some health in the sandbag pile to the left. Use the sniper rifle to kill MG42 gunner in the barn house ahead. Get an SMG, then head to the back of the barn house where the player will be ambushed by 5 Germans. Use a bullet spray to kill them all in one clip, then head back around the barn. Collect the Panzer IV lying on the ground and head back into the barn. Fire off the rocket and the Tiger at a Tiger. Go back and get another Panzerfaust and fire on the Tiger again. When the tank is destroyed, head back to the courtyard for a few words with Captain Foley. Once he's done talking, the chapter will end. Okay, I talked a lot in this. Now, let me just tell you about this mission. It was a disaster, this mission. Honestly, most of the mission was fine, but it was the part of finding the Panzer Shriekers. It was so hard to find them because you can't spot all of them properly from the angle that I was trying to spot it from. It is a freaking hard mission because of that. Because I took an angle that's more depending on finding them, and that is above the church that we were positioned at. Was it church or was it a building? I don't remember. It was something. But I was like positioned on top of them and trying to snipe them, and I couldn't find anybody. I found like 6, and I always tried to figure out where's the last one, because there were 7, right? And I just couldn't find the last one no matter what. I don't know. Whatever. We'll move on to the next mission, which is Noville. After capturing Foy, their next crucial objective is secure Noville with the 11th Armored Division. The final step is controlling the Bastion Hoffelais highway. Once it's secured, 2 battalions can continue to consolidate their position and gear up for the push into Germany. Battle through adverse weather without aerial recon to divide into 3 units. First led by the Captain Foley, advance up the middle road. Second squad flanking from the left and protected by Sergeant Moody's 3rd squad on the right. Despite fierce resistance, mainly the remaining forces retreat from Foy. They advance. Establishing a defensive perimeter at a Chittau, a German division's counterattack intensifies, but with the unwavering resolve and timely air support, they ultimately repel the enemy, secure Noville, and make a road to Germany for Allied forces. Now, yeah, this mission was not that hard. It was a very defensive mission, I would say, and it works with the Call of Duty, as you know. Defensive missions are something that really works with Call of Duty no matter how you look at it. In fact, it works with most of the shooter games because there's not much to do with, and you have to defend against these enemies that are going to constantly flood you. And that was what this was. It was a good mission. All in all, it was a great way to end off the mission, and it was an epic way to end off the mission, I would say so. Well, not so epic because we're going to get into more epic stuff later on. Anyways, that was a great mission. Now, moving on to the British camp. The next mission is Bomber. Now, the mission begins within an enemy B-17 flying fortress, which has been designated to the British under the alias of James Doyle. As Doyle approaches the cockpit, a fellow crewman advises him to head up to the dorsal turret before Skipper becomes upset. Upon Jem's arrival and entry into the dorsal turret, there is a weapon check. As the squadron reaches the coast of Holland, they're bombarded by flak and flanked by Luftwaffe pilots, causing a pipe to burst. This is swiftly fixed by Sergeant Doyle. After enduring several minutes of assault from Luftwaffe and experiencing another pipe burst, Doyle is assigned a new task to head to the bomb bay and utilize the manual crank as the door to the bomb hatch have been jammed, preventing the release of payload. Doyle successfully resolves the jam, allowing the payload to be dropped, only for the fire to erupt within the rear fuselage, which Doyle is tasked with extinguishing. As he makes his way to retrieve a nearby fire extinguisher, Doyle is shouldered out the bomber, tumbling for a brief moment before deploying his parachute. So yeah, this is a mission where, if it wasn't obvious from what I was speaking, it's an air bomber mission. Pretty cool mission, honestly, because this is one of the few missions where I will appreciate what they try, and it actually worked out pretty well, I'd say so myself. I don't know, it just works for me because this mission did not have too much stress going on, and it just works. I don't know how, but it just works here. It's a great way to start off the Britain campaign, and honestly, it just gets better from here, in my opinion. I feel like Britain campaign is the one that I enjoyed a lot, and I'll continue talking about it. So now that we talked about the previous mission, let's talk about Train Bridge. Sergeant Doyle and his 90th Squadron successfully bombed their target but couldn't maintain control of their RAF aircraft. Somehow Doyle survived the crash and found himself stuck in a tree in German-occupied Dutch village at night. At night, a German patrol approached with flashlights, but Major Ingram from the SAS and Dutch resistance came to rescue, diverting the patrol. Doyle joined the Major Ingram's SOE team and embarked on a daring night mission to destroy a vital train bridge, cutting the German supply line for resistance. With precision and teamwork, they successfully sabotaged the bridge and supported the Dutch resistance in their fight for freedom, sending a clear message to the occupiers. Doyle became a key member of SAS now. So, simply put it, this mission was a blast. No puns intended. But just in general, having your character be like a very a different of a different group, like an aircraft group, and then have them land in the middle of a war and just have him give up. They just give him a pistol, and one of the cooler looking pistols. It's a revolver. It's freaking good. It's fun to use that pistol. So yeah, like you actually are able to enjoy that ride because it's a short mission. It's not a long one, and it really like captures the whole essence of how important this mission is, because you are on a time limit to just go out there and plant the bombs on the bridge so that the bridge can collapse. And it's great. It's a great storytelling mission. In general, it's not a hard mission. It's more of a storytelling mission, but I liked it. But the next mission is the hard mission that we'll talk about. That is Sicily 1. So what's Sicily 1 about? The mission begins from SAS command informing the player's squad of their current objective. Following the debriefing, the player boards a boat headed towards a dock. Upon docking, the player and their squad stealthily eliminate 2 German troopers inside the first building encounter. After dispatching the troops and proceeding along the road, Louis Tees is tasked by Ingram to drive the lorry to the lighthouse. However, the lorry breaks down as it approaches the lighthouse, prompting the player and their squad to continue on the foot and to assault the lighthouse. After eliminating the German guard and planting charges, Ingram instructs player and their squad to advance up the mountain. Upon reaching the mountain, Ingram directs the player to detonate the lighthouse charges. Subsequently, the player must stealthily navigate past German trucks en route to the lighthouse. The squad discovers a hole in a wall and decides to enter the base unnoticed by jumping through it. The player is directed to detonate their squad's charges and proceed to destroy the comm station in the German base, preventing the Germans from calling for reinforcements. After destroying comm station, the player descends to the gun station with Modich and Lutis to disarm or destroy the guns. Additionally, the player retrieves important documents pertaining to German plans from inside the bunker before descending further to the plant charges. Not to the plant charges. Easy, English is not so easy. Upon detonating the charges, the player returns to the surface from Ingram and rest of the squad holding off Germans. Ingram orders the player to join him on the bike while the rest of the squad boards Kubelwagen. As they attempt to leave the base, an incoming German panzer destroys the Kubelwagen, resulting in the death of Lutis, Modich, Hoover, and Deddy. The mission concludes and fades to black as Ingram successfully escapes the base with player. So this is just the first part of the mission. I'm going to continue talking about the next part of the mission as well before concluding the Britain campaign and what I felt about this mission all in all. So, what's this mission? It's Sicily Chasing. The mission begins immediately after the previous one, with the boat Gerald Ingram and James Doyle escaping the Capo Muro di Parco. Pursued by Germans, their bike crashes, forcing them to continue the escape on foot. Foot. They engage in combat with German soldiers until they reach the coast, where they discover a bunker with a small harbor below a cliff. Ingram and Doyle seize a Kriegsmarine patrol from the harbor, with Ingram taking the helm and Doyle manning the weapons. As they make the escape, Nazi gunboats appear, threatening their route. Doyle not successfully but skillfully destroys the gunboats, allowing them to evade pursuit. As they sail away, the explosive planted early on cannons, which was set in Sicily 1, obviously with the previous mission, detonate dramatically, causing chaos and destruction in German ranks. With the path now clear, the British make their way safely to the HMS Ulster Monarch, successfully evading capture once again. All in all, the whole Sicily mission was a freaking blast. Again, no puns intended. This mission was pretty tough though. Like it's genuinely like a tough mission, and they literally take no jokes with this mission. They make sure you suffer in this mission, like actually gets like wrecked in this mission. Because I remember how many times I died in this mission. You guys will have like a cut edit version of this mission. But this mission was so freaking hard, dude. Like, I am not even joking when I say this mission is hard. It makes sure you suffer. It makes sure that you have no options whatsoever, because the health scarcity, that's another big thing about this mission. The health scarcity, the scarcity you have of health, the amount of HP that is over there is has minimum as it gets. Like, I am not even joking when I say, like, it's as minimum as it gets. There's literally nothing you can do about it. I, you guys might think that I might be over exaggerating on how tough this mission is. No. And the thing about this mission is that this is not even the toughest mission, because the missions, like, legit, the missions that are going to be coming on later on, it's gonna be even more tougher. Like, for example, we'll take the Kursk mission and just pull it out of the way. This is the 11th mission, which is like 2 missions later from this mission I'm talking about. I'll just talk about Kursk. The whole mission is a tank mission, okay? But this one is much easier in comparison to what we had in the Britain campaign. And the tank mission is, like, you could say that you can scope the tanks from far away and still be safe. It's that type of mission. But the whole Russian campaign, other than that, the whole Russian campaign is a freaking disaster. Like, when I say it's a disaster, I'm not even joking. I died more times in the whole Russian campaign than literally any of the other campaigns itself. In fact, even in Call of Duty, the first game that I played, you can already understand how bad it was. Even the first game I played, I did not die this many times as much as I died in this whole mission, this whole campaign. Sorry, the Russian campaign. Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about it, of course, because I gotta talk about this mission. Trenches. We'll begin with that one. The first Russian campaign mission. The mission commences with the player aboard a train, which abruptly halts and forces them to go onto the platform, moving swiftly. The player joins the squad in 2 trucks nearby under the supervision of commissar. As the trucks set off, they are constantly threatened by explosions and strafing airplanes. Upon reaching the destination, the player and the squad rush into trenches within a bunker to collect ammunition from 2 men. Emerging from the bunker, they take up defensive positions in trenches and bracing for an onslaught from advancing German forces. However, devastating barrage of explosives decimates the trenches, leaving few survivors. Amidst the chaos, the Germans launch a fierce assault. After successfully defending the right flank and witnessing a plane crash, the player and the squad are informed of a breach in the left flank. Tasked with repelling the attackers, they encounter flamethrower units moving towards the trenches, which I'm disappointed because we never get to use flamethrower in this game. Pretty disappointing. Maybe it's in the multiplayer. I never checked the multiplayer. Once the left flank is secured, the player returns to the right flank to destroy elephant tanks threatening the area. With tanks neutralized, the players and the squad advance to confront German forces on the far side of the trenches. Guided into the barn by Sergeant Frolov, the player regroups and receives a debriefing. They must seize the village adjacent to the trenches to prevent the Germans from encircling the Russians. After successfully capturing the village, player and the squad defend it until the reinforcements bolstered their position. Upon the arrival of reinforcement, tanks assist in securing the village and supporting the player. When German rebels, Sergeant Frolov orders the squad to regroup at his location. The mission concludes with Sergeant Sasarov delivering a speech praising the Russian forces for a successful pushback against the Germans initiating their retreat. Yeah, this mission is tough. It's not as easy as I explained it. This mission is very tough, especially the right to left flank, just going constantly between those places, and then finding out like these things, these tanks and enemies just exist there to just destroy you in seconds. And this game does not work like the modern Call of Duty games where your HP regenerates if you just stay still for a few seconds. That is in fact much easier in comparison to what this is. In fact, the hardest Call of Duty mission that I have ever had issues with was Miles High Club in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That shit was tough as hell. Part of the reason I would say is because you have a timer and the regenerating health bar is an issue. Unlike the other Call of Duty games where regenerating health bar is a thing, it isn't like a big issue because you can just take cover at any time and still be secure. But yeah, let's talk about the next mission. That is none other than Poinry. That's what it's called. Another mission where I died a lot. Yuri, alongside other Soviet troops, advances into the town of Poinry, strategically maneuvering to capture key positions. As they push forward, engaging in fierce urban combat, they gradually secure control over most of their town, overcoming stubborn German resistance. With Poinry largely under Soviet control, Yuri's unit receives orders to assault a vital tank depot in the area. Moving swiftly and decisively, they storm the depot, engaging in a close quarter combat to clear the buildings of remaining German defenders. Despite facing formidable opposition, Yuri and his comrades demonstrate exceptional skill and determination, systematically eliminating enemy forces within the depot. With the relentless assault, they succeed in neutralizing the German presence, effectively ending the battle for Poinry and securing a crucial victory for Soviet forces. This was, I will tell you, I died a lot in this mission. Part of the reason is because the depot is such a hard place to go through because you literally don't have any heals, quote unquote, don't have any heals. The soldiers don't drop any heals there, and you don't get many heals, and you are always low over there because there is a constant flow of battle that is always going on in each and every room that you go. And when you are finally confronted with a tank at the end, you are supposed to use the Panzer Force to destroy the tank, but there are so many soldiers that assault you that it becomes next to impossible to really do that. And I was playing on normal. Think of how hard it'll be on hard. Like, holy shit, that was hard as heck. No, nothing beats the final mission. We'll talk about the final mission then, that is Kharkov. Now, Kharkov has two partners, but we'll just make it one and end up there in our conversation about Call of Duty United Offensive, the expansion. Yuri finds himself thrust into midst of fierce urban warfare raging in the city of Kharkov, facing off against formidable adversaries led from the Waffen NWS, including Panzers and Panzer Grenadiers. Alongside his fellow Soviet soldiers, Yuri is tasked with identifying the position of German Pak guns and Elephant tank destroyers, crucial for neutralizing enemies' armored assets. As the battle intensifies, Yuri and his unit push deeper into the heart of Kharkov, engaging in relentless combat against enemy tanks and infantry. In a bold move, Yuri seizes a captured German Panzerfaust, employs it to take out approaching enemy tanks, demonstrating his resourcefulness and bravery on battlefield. The fighting escalates to the house-to-house struggle as Yuri and his comrades clear the town of German resistance, inching closer to the objective. Eventually, they reach the Kharkov train station where they play a pivotal role in its capture, securing a strategic foothold in the city. However, the victory is short-lived as a massive German counterattack swiftly descends upon the station, unleashing a barrage of air, ground, and artillery assaults. Undeterred, Yuri and his squad stand their ground, fighting fiercely to hold the station against overwhelming odds while waiting much-needed Soviet reinforcements. Finally, the tide turns as heavy Soviet reinforcements arrive around the station, bolstering Yuri's depleted ranks. With renewed determination to repel the remaining German forces, driving them back out of Kharkov for good. As the combined might of Soviet military triumphs over the retreating Waffen NWS, Panzer Grenadiers, a commissar atop the train rallies the victorious soldiers, waving the Soviet flag high and inspiring them to continue the advance. This epic victory scene echoes the iconic scene from Their Land, Their Blood in Call of Duty World at War, symbolizing the resilience and triumph of the Soviet forces in the face of adversity. I actually didn't know that. I actually forgot that this whole scene was in Call of Duty World at War because it's been so long since I played that. Which I will cover Call of Duty World at War as well. after some time. Anyways, like I was getting to it, Call of Duty, the expansion itself, United Offensive, is most probably one of the better ones. Last mission I want to talk about is one of the hardest, if not the hardest mission that I have played. I just can't with how tough the mission itself is. Because here's the thing about the final mission of Call of Duty United Offensive. You are in a position like the final two missions, one of them ends off with you taking out all the airplanes, which you have to be precise and you need to know ahead of time where the airplane is coming from, because your accuracy needs to be on pinpoint, and that is the only way you would be able to do that. That's why it took me like 3 or 4 tries to do that mission. Then the last mission. The last mission itself, the ending is so frustrating because the tanks don't come for a long ass time. They take the sweet time, and there are bombers bombing down the station constantly, which is going to make it so freaking hard to survive. Due to which I go under a train, but you can't survive under a train for long because the soldiers do push you under the train. So, like, even if I prone under the train, I can't watch behind me where the soldier is shooting from behind me, or in front of me. I can't really have a proper like positioning for like the soldiers to do anything. It becomes a tough battle at that point, and it really puts emphasis on being safe more than anything, because you need to take out the tanks, and for that you need to get Panzer Force or get on the Flak 88. I tried Panzer Force, but Panzer Force is also tough because you have to be played real safe. And Flak 88 or the other gun that was there, I forgot, but another grenade type of gun that was there, like not the gun, but the machine. So if you get in any of the ones from two, in fact, you have to get into one of the two at either point, because there are two tanks that come from the left and there are two tanks that come from the right, and in general it just becomes a really tough battle of attrition, and where you have to be very resilient and you have to make sure that you get the ending of the game as it is planned out, because even after you have done with the tank, the 2 minutes you have to spend waiting for reinforcements, which becomes really tough. It becomes really tough. While this game only has 12 missions, this game is much more tougher than Call of Duty 1. And I like it because the devs already knew that you might have played Call of Duty 1 at this point if you're playing the expansion, because they literally don't hold your hand in this game. In Call of Duty 1, they had a bunch of sections where they were holding your hand and telling you what to do. But in this game, you have multiple ways to do whatever the hell you want. For example, one of the best parts is like taking out the Panzer Shrieks who are going to destroy your Panzer, like the Shermans that are gonna come. And my mic fell. Anyways, yeah, like that's one of the points, and you can do it sitting from above the thing, or you can go down there and search for the Panzer Shrieks yourself and kill them. It is your choice on how you want to kill the Panzer Shrieks. Or maybe something like the tank depot, where your options are limited, but at the same time you can play it real slave, take out all the enemies, then go for the Panzer Force and take out the. They're respawning enemies, but in the end, there are only limited amount of respawning enemies that can come out there. Like, I think there are like 4 or 5 enemies regularly who will come out, and that's about it. So if you just go for the Panzer Force, destroy the tank after you kill off all the enemies, you have a choice. Or you can just be greedy, get the Panzer Force and destroy the tank. It's your choice, honestly. It's how you want to play this game. Because in this scenario, there is no holding hand. However you feel like is the best approach for whatever you're doing, go ahead and do it. That is how United Offensive is supposed to play it, and that's what I think so. Because, like I said, it's not trying to hold your hand or anything. It is literally just trying to like give you the game and you like get going, do whatever you want. I like it when games do that, like when games don't hold your hand and just go ahead and give you the green signal to do whatever the hell you want. And another thing about the game is I feel like this is something I would say about the game. It's an old game. It can't hold up to the standards that are there today. A lot of games nowadays are much better than whatever junk you had back in the day. You have new games such as Witcher, you have new games like Cyberpunk, You have new games like Baldur's Gate 3, but there are old games. Like there are old games which need recognition, and as big as Call of Duty is, none of their old games are really that recognized. Call of Duty 1, nobody really recognizes that game nowadays. They're just like meh. Same goes for 2 and 3, which I will also cover on my channel. A lot of people know about World at War and Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Those are the games that a lot of people grew up playing, and that's why they know about it. But Call of Duty 1, Call of Duty 2, 3, a lot of people just miss out on the best opportunity to play these games because they're just hidden gems, in honesty. Yeah, again, like I said, it can't hold up to today's standard, but there's a thing about the game, like you can see where people actually had fun making the game. You can see where there's some kind of passion in the game that you can enjoy and genuinely feel like, yeah, this game is pretty good, pretty cool. I like this game because you actually enjoy the game just as much as the devs had fun making the game. And that's what today's games really don't have. A lot of games nowadays are bland and don't have that atmosphere that a lot of old games really presented. I'm not saying every game is like that, but a lot of AAA titles do end up becoming like that, where it's just a bland source of nothingness, and once you play the game, it's just done. While yeah, I won't be playing Call of Duty again because there's a bunch of games I want to cover in my upcoming how many years I'll do YouTube, I don't know. But this game is going to be good. Like I played this game on my channel as well about 6 years ago when I had an old channel. My old channel was pretty old, but I that channel got terminated because I don't know. There was some weird stuff going on back on YouTube, and I did not know why my channel got terminated. Never knew that, but that one did got terminated. And I played Call of Duty 1 on that channel, and I actually enjoyed that. I again played that same game a few years later, and I still enjoyed it. And again, I think so, like 3 or 4 years later, I'm playing the same game and I'm still enjoying it. I think it's just the fact that there's so much passion in the game that I can enjoy the game genuinely because of it's just fun. That's the easier way to put it. Like you can see the fun factor of the game and still enjoy it. My personal opinion, whatever you guys feel like it, is it worth getting the game? Again, like if you're looking for a today's standard game, no, it's really not worth getting it. But if you're looking for something casual, fun, yes, it's worth getting the game because it's really fun to play the game. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the video. Call of Duty United Offensive is done. Most probably they'll be getting prototype by Sunday. Yeah, I think it's a Sunday. You'll be getting prototype by Sunday, and yeah, until next time, boys. Peace out.